the upsets technically do continue because this was the map pick of the team that decided to end up losing the game. Ego wanted a bit of Ancient. Well, they started off not too bad. It was something they could play with. Then they moved over to the ST side, and Sinners were, quite frankly, just better when it came down to this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like we said, Edgeo had to win this map to be in the content, to win the contest of winning actually this game.
Yeah.
And they started off very well. It was 6-1.
Yep.
I think they won the pistol. They lost the following round, which was unfortunate, but they returned with the third round win, and then they continue. Fico had a great start, 16-3, I believe.
Yes.
And after that, it just fell apart. I think the slow game from Sinners kind of destabilized them. I don't know if they expected something like that from Sinners, but on the other side, it was the guys who we expected to show up. It was Oscar, it was Neofrag. They delivered. They won the first map. They're right now is in a sick position to actually move forward in the tournament.
Definitely a different result from last time, right? I think this time around, Sinners actually managed to crack the code to the CT side there. I think they figured out the weak spot of that A side. You know, they had some very successful executes there, locking out Ego from the side, and then obviously Ego having to save, having their economy on the ropes. Very hard to get back into that T side. So on the other hand, fantastic CT hold from Sinners, especially on the B side. You know, their utility game was very strong there. A lot of damage already dished out before they even saw any opponents, and that was kind of like the winning formula to get them.
And this is what often happens, right? When we talk about games where you've played this before, you end up losing it last round, you learn some more from it. Obviously, spent a bit of time, they developed their Ancient for sure. And I would say overall, this is what the Sinners we expected to see when it came to the best of one scenario, right?
Yep.
Showing up and delivering to this kind of a level.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, like two main heavy hitters delivered on this map. Right now, we're going into Inferno, which is their pick.
Yep.
I assume they're going to be starting on T side. They
Yep.
got 7 rounds last time? Or 8? 7?
No, they got 8.
Yeah,
Eight
they started
close.
0-7.
Close.
It was like 7-8. I mean, we see that they're feeling good right now. Like I said, again, Oscar and Neofrag, they're feeling really good. And Inferno is their pick. I assume they're just gonna roll with it.
And if you're Ego, this is where it really sits in that you're one map away from elimination.
Yeah, a situation
And
they
that's on the
didn't
first
expect
day.
themselves to be in,
First day
right?
as well.
Day
First
one,
day.
you had a easy opponent on paper, and then you potentially walk away with a straight elimination, and you're on the bus.
I mean, that's what you get if you play poorly.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you get. I mean, it's nothing crazy about that.
Do we think though there is any chance? Because it is Inferno, right? It's not like Ego can't play it. It's a map that everyone should know inside and out. Yes, we expect Sinners to be better on it, but is there some light we can look at here for Ego?
Look, Ego has played this map before. You know, it's not something I think they'll have like a 60% win rate on in the past 3 months, but they have been banning it lately in series, which shows to me that there's not a lot of confidence going into it. But they did beat, I think, FPX in overtime not that long ago. So
Reasonable.
The fundamentals are definitely there. It's just a matter of how confident are they in this pick. You know, they probably saw the Sinners game we began the day on with, and maybe they have some takeaways from that which they can use against Sinners.
And that can be their plus only.
Yeah.
I mean, if you say like in the veto processes, if they kept it, but they banned it in the second stage, that shows that they would play it, but they would like not pick it, you know?
Yeah.
So that doesn't show a lot of confidence for that map. The only thing going for them is that the Sinners lost today against Onyx. And it was a really good like performance by Onyx, by the whole team, you know, overall. And that can be a kind of a, you know, a entry point for them, like thinking like, okay, these guys beat them, maybe like we can play a normal game better than we did on Ancient, and just maybe we can come back and go into the Vertigo, which is even worse for them, you know. Sinners love playing Vertigo, so they're right now in a very tough spot. What they need is a clear, again, like a super good start, 6-7-1 like they did on the first map, just keep rolling, because it's easy to keep that lead on the CT side of Inferno rather than on Ancient, you know. So Inferno is a very known map. It's like very also about banana control and how you react to that. And if you start well, you can easily get into double digits. But if they start poorly, then they're gonna be in trouble because they're already down 1-0, and you know how that goes. It snowballs into a bus waiting for you to take you home.
The buses we keep talking about here. But before Ego do have to take the bus, obviously they do have a chance of doing something here on Inferno. We've spoke about what Oscar and Neofrag can do. What players are we really looking at from the Ego side that could be able to match up with that? Is there anyone that can match up to that level?
I think Fiku has been super sharp today, right? Even in their opening game and now as well, like very crisp headshots, very good rifling. And if you have that type of force on the T side, you know, that which opens up the rounds for you. We saw that was very strong from Dinka, for example, against Sinners on Inferno. Those entry frags, that's what pretty much like stole away the A side from Sinners in the Onyx game. And if Fikuten can replicate basically that performance, you know, that's one of the key factors, I guess, for Ego.
For me, it's MHO, right? He needs to go in, right? If you're CT side oper and you're one for the future, right? And you need to be using your spawns. If you get a spawn for B, you just go for the pick. If you get a spawn for holes, you just go holes. If you get like a mid pick, a kind of mid setup, any kind of, you know, rotation like a fast, be annoying on that CT side. So they can keep guessing where you at. So they need to like be destabilize their defaults and all this like normal stuff that the good CT teams do, you know, on the CT side of Inferno. If that's what he needs to do, it's on him to step up right now because he's the best player of the team. He didn't perform that bad, but he wasn't like that good as well. So right now it's the last moment that he needs to show up and actually keep his team in the tournament. Well, for at least one more map.
Yeah, for at least one more map, and then we'd go off to Vertigo as the decider as well, right?
Yeah, good luck there.
Scariest one.
That would get even more scary. So it's not looking great for Ego at all from start to finish. Here.
No, but CS is a crazy game, right? It doesn't really matter what you did in the first map. You can always reset and win the second and the third. You know, we saw it like numerous times that the underdog
especially
teams,
today.
The underdog teams can do some damage. So it's not over. It's very dark right now, but it's not really over.
It's not over just yet, but it could be after this map. Sinner's going to be looking for the 2-0. Ego have a very slim chance, but can they make it work in a day where we've seen tons of upsets? Let's get back with Dinko and Hawker.
Thank you very much, James. I'm looking forward to seeing if Ajo can bounce back, because obviously they're looking at this Polish team. We're looking at them as a team that were one of the teams we're excited to see what they could do in the main event, maybe even steal away a few upsets. Now they're facing elimination in the entire competition on day one. They might just be going out of this entire competition on day one of the play, and it's not even the main event yet, Hawker. This is very disappointing for this side.
Definitely. Like the Des was saying, Counter-Strike's crazy, man. You got to be a bit crazy to play it. Got to be a bit crazy to go ahead and watch it, honestly. It's going to be a fun one. I think in this one, it could absolutely still be a close series. I really do think that Ego still have a chance here on Inferno, just based on the history of these teams, and of course, based on that Sinners result that we saw on Inferno earlier on in this very tournament. They got a really slow start. I think a lot of their issues came from not properly getting banana control in a lot of rounds. They were playing super passive consistently to start that game. That was part of why they went down so heavy early on. So I'd like to see Sinners on their CT side take a bit more proactive plays early on in this half. I'd love to see them go ahead and just make sure they do have some rounds where they aren't just playing completely passive.
Yeah, and I do want to see the same wombo combo out of Oscar and Neofrag, because yes, it's happy and exciting to see them play good on one map of Ancient, but you've got to see them pop off again. It can't just be the one-time thing. It's got to be a second map performance. It's got to be a more consistent factor if Sinners are going to be not only a team to get out of the play-in now, but a team that are going to be able to compete with some of the best in this competition, right? Sinners are a team that have stolen away some big wins recently, in particular on LAN. So I'm looking forward to seeing if it is going to be a difficult showing here for Sinners. If HL can show up on map 2, we get to find out as we head into Inferno. Banana control early established by Zedco at the front of the charge, and behind the half wall is Fiku, just sort of shoulder baiting for information right now. Nothing being provided yet though, and right now for the meantime on this B site, no bloodshed just yet.
Both teams happy to take a slow start to this one. There is some utility available for the T side, a smoke and a flash at their disposal. Finally, some shots exchanged. There is a P250 in play in the hands of Oscar, so he can land some long-range headshots, but as it stands, the bomb is still back on Banana. So they're happy to leave their options open here. The setup on the CT side here for Ego is very committed to this B bomb site. They have players in towards dark and then a man at triple. So they absolutely just have to get a couple of kills on the hold here as this B play looks ready to come on through.
And this defense is super passive right now from Sinners, so let's see if they can hold it. Smoke in to allow that close play for the Glocks. You don't want to be picked off at long range, and in fact, they're going to dart through CT and try and send a few players to wrap around Ruins, and this is certainly going to put pressure on the two remaining players as they have to fight on two fronts, and they're getting chopped down. The legs are gone. The defense is absolutely eradicated. Team Sinners have no shot in this round right now, at least. It is going to be Lemming starting to come back in with a headshot. He's trying to get a little bit more. Oscar with a swing out. And AGO, rather, with no chance in this one. Oscar goes for the bomb plant. And MHL towards CT. There's nothing he can pull off, surely, at this point, as he starts to make his way back over. He spots out a couple of legs towards him. A little bit of chip damage going out to the left side, but he's held back and stuck in behind CT right now. At this point, just a moment before we head into the next, with Oscar securing the pistol.
Sinners pulling off the perfect strat call there to counter that exact setup. The lurk smoke to the front of the site is a really nice idea in the pistol round too, because what that does is it's really hard for the USPs to spam through that smoke. If they have rifles there, if it was a gun round, maybe you just spam through that lurk smoke and you can get a kill more comfortably. But they can just use their movement to move into CT, split that site, and now Sinners are feeling so confident they've even bought a Bison in this round. I did see the Bison, I think, once or twice at the major. I don't remember who was buying it, but someone was.
Was it not Art?
I was going to say Art, because he's just the kind of guy to do that.
It was Art, and it was in the quarterfinals, I think, in the arena. So, pretty wild player, and that's why I love him. But Furlan, with the Deagle for the CT side, has picked up the first, so AGO with a man advantage at the beginning of this round, and maybe Sinners will start to regret that Bison pickup in just a little bit, because, you know, you've lost that first player. Hasn't really found the reply, nor an option to find that reply. Have got banana control, though.
If you remember back to Ancient, the start of that game was very back and forth, with 4 spies going both ways until finally one of the teams was able to take control. We could have a similar story here if Ego can keep this up.
Bison is going to entry frag. Around the corner, Beastic tried to lead the charge. Now, this feels like you're watching a bot game, but in fact, it is Beastic playing the Bison, so we get to see if there's anything out of this. He's spamming through a lot of bullets in the gun. Not a lot of damage from the bullets, though. They're going to go for the bomb plant on top of the coffins. Good bit of damage landed towards the end there from Fiku. But right now, the T's have the bomb down. They have the post-plant positions. They have taken significant damage onto the one player you don't really want to have damage onto, Zetko. He's one of the players with the AK. Bison untouched right now, so he's just chilling out, waiting for this retake attempt to come through from AGO. They'll start to consider that option as they go back through into the waiting arms of Zetko on the AK-47. They have lost B-Stick, so the Bison are able to take it down, but Neophrite certainly will on the MAC-10. He finds 5, shuts it all down, and money in the bank with the MAC-10 is.
No reaction from Neofrag. He just kind of shrugs that off. MAC-10 ace in such a quick amount of time. A really nice setup at the end there too for Sinners, having the player up close down below and towards Pool, and then having the player up top using those 2 different angles of elevation to set up those frags to make sure that they had some favorable fights in that post plant. Really explosive round from the MAC-10 though. Always fun to see that coming through. Brago though, not fun from their side of things. They only have couple of nades bought, which have done some early damage, and then a few pistols to work with alongside. Gotta say, for this Sinners squad, it has been obviously so important for them bringing Oscar into this team. If you look back to the 2018 edition of the V4 Future Sports Festival, Oscar was there. You pointed out earlier, he was the MVP of the event, winning it with Mouse Sports. A couple of these other Sinners players were also at the event, though, but they were at weaker teams. B-Stick was at Dark Tigers, Zedko was at Ecstatus. Both of those teams didn't make it out of the groups. So it goes to show that getting Oscar on this team has been so important to just have that one experienced player in there.
It's like taking the bottom team but just putting them near the top, or at least in expectations. Maybe not in reality, as we sit here in the elimination game of playing day 1, but maybe, just maybe, it's the turning of the tides now as Oscar finds another kill. Through the smoke on the crash. Now you'll find a follow-up as Oscar got X-ray goggles on or something. He's found 2 kills through the smoke. He's just playing with the sound cues. He's not being too quiet about their retake attempt with just USPs and a couple of SMGs in play. And Neofrag with another massive multi-kill, 3 for him. A lot of money on the T side right now for Sinners. And something I brought up a little bit earlier on, and a problem that has been there for Sinners throughout the day is just getting off to slow starts. They had a slow start today on Inferno in their best of one. Maybe that cost them the crucial rounds they needed. And then on Ancient, they had a pretty slow start as well. This has been the first time so far at this competition the Sinners have got off to a flying start.
See if they can keep it up, though, because they're up against a double AWP setup from Ago. And the desk pointed out they wanted to see MHL take a lot of initiative with that AWP. If he has the spawns, they want to see him take the fights. But it's actually Furlan looking down Banana early. This is a lot of information. Flash does blind him, but Sinner's already leaning heavily over towards A. And I think Ago might be aware of that. They're rotating a fourth man over to this A bomb site.
4 players in defense. Krasnal is the first to get chopped down and eliminated. But Zedko is able to do that for his side. They have lost a player in the form of Shock, though. So it is a 4v4 at the beginning of round 4. MHL locking down the short position. 4 players from Sinner still committed heavily towards A. They have no banana control, and they know that on the CT side, but it doesn't matter if you start to crack open heads on the A defense instead, as they put pressure on both sides of brackets. Long will hold, though. Fiku able to hit a headshot. Can't say the same about their remaining teammates on the other side of the map. They get shut down on the A side, completely plucked out of position. And AGO will have to save into this one. Their chances will have to come in a later round.
Sinners play the patience game, but I don't think Ago needed to force the fights there. You know you have Furlan holding the AWP on Banana. If anyone comes his way, he's pretty likely to get a kill or at least early information because he was peeked down Banana. So just sitting with that 3A stack may have been a better idea. Instead of taking the fight to Sinners, then you can start to set up crossfires from the site. And even if it is a B play, you'd probably have a fast enough response. So that decision to go aggressive, maybe not the correct one, but for Sinners, I love how patiently they played that. They kind of realized that eventually there's a decent chance a CT might just poke his head out a bit too far, try and get that information. And then once they got that kill, they were very quick to pounce on the Sinners side. This is the exact start they were looking for here on their map.
For AGO, this is now where that storyline we set up earlier today starts to come into play. How are they going to deal with the stress? How are they going to deal with the emotions and the pressure now? You're 1 map away from going out of this tournament on the play-in day 1. That is disappointing. You're going to have people who are disappointed, and they'll make that known. So that's always in the back of your head here. So you've got to force that out and try and stay focused in this game because you're not going to play any better starting to think about the worst outcome. So it's all about the mental fortitude. Krasnal looking the wrong way, nearly gets caught, but looks back in the hole spam, starting to come through. Shot gets ready for the second, and he'll hold down to Oscar Alcoa. Takes Furlan out of play, and just 1 player left, and MHL alone in the world. And AWP has just been gifted to him, though, so that's a nice weapon to find for him. But finding much out of this round is very, very unlikely.
Bomb's definitely going over to B, but they may even consider delaying the plant to make sure they can get this AWP out of his hands. Because I'm sure Sinners know they have this round almost guaranteed. There's a shot from MHL, but now they know exactly where he is, and they will start to react accordingly. They're starting to crunch in on his position. He is trapped in CT spawn.
Yes, an MHL sandwich, and he's the meat. He's stuck right in the middle of it. He's going to start looking towards CT spawn. It is a very slow play that's coming after him. They're tracking him, they're hunting him down as a unit, as a pack, and MHL, once again, position known, looks behind him, finds Oscar. MHL is shutting everybody out of the round, but on the way out, ooh, it's not clean, but it is clinical. Shock will bring down MHL out of the round, and at least the AWP is not saved. He does get some damage towards the end, and AGO will have to think about this next round coming up. Again, another strong round coming out of Sinners in the early round, just a few casualties towards the end.
So far in that first gun round, Sinners very happy to group up early. Here in this one, it was more of a default spread, which just allowed them to win those early fights against some of those weaker weapons. This was just the half buy for Ago, but now they should be up in full force, and Fiku isn't wasting any time. The aggression into second mid.
Oh, Zedko's waiting for it, gets 1. Gets shut down pretty quickly, though. Fiku and Lemon taking 2 kills between them. Zedko and Shock out of the round. It looked good early on for Sinners, early doors. It was fantastic, but people realize they're selling a dodgy product, and it's been completely overhauled at this point. Man advantage locked in for HO. It's not an easy man advantage, though. Lemon is certainly going to feel the brunt of the health damage.
Boost up. They're trying to hold above and below to make sure they can get multiple kills. They need multiple kills here. Fiku up top, only good for one, and that's not good enough.
Neofright gets both of those, so he had to relocate his crosshair vertically, which can be very difficult to do. So gets away with a nice little double. Did have his teammate there with good spacing coming in on that top mid hit from Sinners, but they've got the A site. Here comes the retake attempt running up middle. Neofright's going to hold from Boiler, and he's going to be the first player you've got to worry about right now. And MHL's found the ult, but he walks right into the winning arms of Neofrag. And he's not going to hang around to see if he had any friends with him. He's going to run back into the apartments. His friend will hunt him down and avenge his fallen teammate. And now just B-stick inside of the site. 1 versus 1 for him to try clutch it out. And he'll do exactly that. Headshot in, Furlan down, and 6 rounds in a row for the Sinners. A fantastic, blistering start here on Inferno.
Throwing that molly onto short there in the 2v2 post plant. It's a pretty cool idea because I think that's part of the reason why the CTs didn't expect a player to be in Boiler. You assume the player on the site is mollying off short because it's not being watched, but the player in Boiler was just watching it the whole time. I think it was Oscar going in first, who just had a USP out, didn't even have the AWP in his hands. And unless the teams have agreed to play around where we just sit and spawn the whole time, I think we've got a tech pause.
That would be a pretty cool round, honestly. Just like a pacifist movement or something, Hawker. Like, just chilling out. No longer attacking one another, but the stage setup is certainly something we can talk about. Look at that. It's just so curved. We've got to have a little look.
You know what's most important?
What?
They've got the coach a chair. You need to give the coach a chair. He's standing there all the time. Give him a chair.
You know, especially if you don't want him celebrating, you know? Just sit in your chair. But
now the referee, unfortunately, doesn't get a chair.
No, and they always have those gloves. It makes them look quite ominous, actually, you know? Sitting back with the COVID restrictions, sitting back with their masks, their gloves, just sort of like standing behind there. It's kind of creepy at times, but...
He's got to be watching over the players. He's got to make sure everything's in order, Dinko.
Yeah, of course. But shout out to the referees we've got here at this event, making sure everything is in order. And hopefully we can get this issue resolved as quickly as possible. I do love this camera setup we got here. We can see everybody. Oscar in the middle on the right side of your screen. Certainly the player that we've all kind of talked about a lot. I think he's always the big talking point when it comes to this team. And, you know, going into Pro League, the Sinners side had, I think, their first real big upset win. You know, the one that was like, okay, Sinners are on the map. We knew that they were playing and tearing it up in this Tier 2 scene, but have they proven it against some good teams? They come into Pro League, and they actually beat G2 in that game. So coming into that matchup, that's obviously a fantastic win for them. Obviously, G2 don't exactly play the best online, but it's a good confidence booster. They went on to have some great results heading into Extreme Masters Fall. Like we mentioned earlier, they were able to beat Heroic on LAN. They were able to beat Complexity. It was kind of a dead team, but, you know, at least it's a big win in terms of the players on that side, and then Endpoint. But they proceeded to lose 16-14 to the Movistar Riders. Now that is a disappointing loss. That really is. That's gonna be at the back of your head for a long time. But coming into LAN again, this is where Sinners have shown they're able to play some great Counter-Strike. And so far, you know, I was pretty disappointed, but best of ones, man. That's what we always talk about it. You can get off to a bad start, especially with this brutal format. So, like, you lose one best of one, you're just the bestest real wife and getting kicked out of the tournament. And because best of ones are so volatile, you have a lot of the favorites down here. We've got the top 3 seeded teams in the play-ins in elimination matches today, Hawkett. There was a lot here on the line, a lot of pressure for AGO.
Pressure is on. We'll see if they can step up because they're 6-0 down right now. They don't even have a full buy to work with. Fiku with the one rifle tries to make a proactive play, but the utility was well placed to deny that early aggression. At least Furlan can recover the M4 for the team, but it's still not an ideal start. This is the sort of round for Ago where maybe it is worth taking more of a risk than this, because you only have the pistols in this round. With the setup they have currently, I find it really hard to see them holding either site. Maybe on B with the rifle there, they have a slightly better chance, but even then, I would expect Sinners to have solid trades, especially with all the nades at their disposal. So finally, we get some aggression in towards the apartments, and that may allow a B stack to come over just before the push.
Yeah, this is the best chance they've got to win the round. They've got 3 players currently on this B side of the map, and Sinners are going this way. Crash now has gone a little bit more aggressive, but here comes the play through. Furlan with the first. Rifle picks up one and B-Stick down. Furlan staying alive at New Box, and that's going to give his team a far better chance of just being alive, being a nuisance. He's getting 1 versus 1 fights, and he's found another. That's NeoFry down, and that bomb, it can't get on towards the site. Luckily, the HE goes soaring in, and through the sky, it will find its victim. But Shock, on the follow-up, has opened up a chance back into the site now, and just as well, because the flank was coming through Banana, and it has found 1 kill on the 5-7. Bomb plant denied, though, as Crestnell now has an AWP to play with, and Shock has to pull off the clutch. Back he goes again. A massive round, a shockwave right through AGO, as Shock pulls off and a massive, humongous clutch.
Having to turn around entirely for that second fight. They could not have been at further away angles from each other, but he's still able to spray to the body. That initial push looked hesitant from Sinners. A couple of players were hanging around towards Banana, but they were committing to B. At that point, you've got to just go ahead and commit to the push to the site. Thankfully, though, Shock bails them out. That second spray, super solid, but at least Ago's showing us some signs of life, and they've got that ult back into the hands of MHL. He's hoping to find an opener, but no opportunities given to him so far. Similar setup again from Ago. They keep going 4A early, leaving Furlan alone B. I don't think Sinners have figured that out yet. I don't think they've seen that. It's definitely something worth keeping an eye on.
We'll see if they start to play a little bit more of that information gathering style. Right now, just a slow default. They know they've got Banana control. They've actually even started poking and prodding towards top middle, but MHL with some timed re-aggression peeks down into mid and takes out Shock. Great kill to open up the round.
That's more of what we want to see from MHL. We've pointed out that this could be a really important tournament for him to put himself back on the map as a hot prospect. If they go out in the group stage of the play-in, you don't really get to call yourself a hot prospect at that point. So taking initiative to get the early kill, and now Ago can much more comfortably sit back in a more default setup with 2 towards B and 3 towards A.
And here they come. The A attack into the 3-man setup. There's been a lot of opportunities like this for HEO where they have been gambling to the right side of the map. They have been able to make that rotation over, but they've got to be able to hold on. They had weaker weapons in the previous attempts. This time, they've got the AWP. This time, they've got the rifles, and the first kill on the initial attack. Gets caught up in apartments as B-Stick with an nade in his hand. NeoFry and Oscar fighting back with a few kills of their own, and now they've cracked open a hole for the defense, but MHL is butchering them inside of the A site, and he'll smack them down into the ground. The first round finally there for HEO.
MHL got that early kill at the start of the round, and then he landed a solid second shot there from the site. He had to flick up to the player who was jumping across to try and make his crosshair awkward to place, but he still gets the kill. And then, I'm not sure why B-Stick is pulling out a smoke in the apartments there. He's the player that's set up to have that different angle to help his teammates onto the site. They already had a smoke up to Moto, I believe. So I think you just got to keep your gun out and play for the frags at that point. And Oscar fighting straight back.
If he was trying to smoke the hay bills as well, there's a lineup you could do without even needing to peek. So yeah, a little questionable. I would love to know what he's actually trying to do there. But this CT smoke at top mid, this sucks. There's a massive gap on the right side of that, and Oscar's trying to play with it.
Oh, I love that MHL has a big pop-off round in the previous, and Oscar just comes straight back with his steady AWPing, holding top mid, and says, hey, you're not going to get too many of those rounds when I'm on the server. Top mid control taken for Sinners, and there is a big gap. But Krasnow gets the first kill while blind. They've got this apartment stack. Sinners should know now that the site is likely fairly open. They've still got to be scared of the apartments, and that makes it awkward.
Yeah, and this position from NeoFry, I don't know if this is a very expected position to be in right now at Archway. You're so focused on the A players, you forget about NeoFry's possibility. And now he's got information that the second player is in fact in library right now as well, because Furlan takes out Shock. And then Sinners may be down a player, but NeoFry's position is giving him a massive chance into the round. And Zedko from Pit will hold and dig his teeth in. It's just Furlan left getting in towards the site. They'll throw a smoke down to try and isolate the fight, but bounced for a long time down those stairs. Didn't bloom quite as quick as he would have liked. And ends up giving a chance for Zedko to peek onto him from the pit. Another round, and it's a reply from Sinners.
And NeoFrag is playing lights out right now. He's playing his style really well, getting into advanced positions, getting into these really annoying angles. He's 15 for 5 early in this game. It's been a huge reason why Sinners have this lead.
And that comes back to the story again. We need to see the Oscar and NeoFrag show. We need to see those two players deliver it, and finding that impact consistently is the key to finding success at this event. If they can get that going, then certainly they can pick it up. And, you know, it's a analogy used in sports all the time. If you have a player who's in a bit of a slump, all it takes is just one play to get them back to feeling like themselves, thinking like themselves, and being confident in themselves once again. This could be the case for Sinners. You know, one map win can sort of strike you back in. All right, guys, we're not a bad team. We just had a little bad run of things. We're demotivated. We're kind of down and out after not making the major. But this is the time. This is our LAN event. We can't go out today.
And I think it's fine for Sinners to take that bit of time after that period, but they had to have been ramping up to this event. I'm sure the practice was getting hotter and hotter. Fast play up Banana here.
Yeah, ramping up certainly is that from B-Stick. He's running straight up through Banana. Fiku has done a fantastic job, though, at dispelling the early aggression. He hasn't been able to stop the full attack, but that might just do it. And this is a disaster right now for Sinners. They have lost 3 players. It's an AK and a Deagle left up against what is an MP9, a couple of Deagles, and a P250. This is not a round that should have gone this way, Hawker, but that's what happens when you try and rush right into the jaws of the B defense. You can get snapped up real quick.
It's gone so wrong so fast for them. NeoFrag may be able to try and bail them out of this one. The timing's so bad, but he's got the smoke into CT. They've got the smoke for Coffins. That may allow him to isolate some of these fights.
Yeah, we'll see if NeoFrag can get it done, but Furlan again with the P250. Not a single kill comes in for Sinners in this round. That is just disgraceful, really. I mean, they didn't get a single kill up against that buy. That has got them right back into a chance here, Ego. They need to now take this opportunity and run full pelt at getting back into this first half, because you don't get many of those chances against Sinners.
Some really sharp shots on the initial hold too, which is what sets up that advantageous position.
Yeah.
And wow, how are Sinners broke? They've been
Because
winning so many rounds.
the MHL round. Okay, Shock takes out MHL, so he's not going to be having an MHL round this time around. And we'll see if the pistols of Sinners also have a bit of bite. Just feels like they've got no bite in them at all right now. Fiku, Krasno, and Lemon, perhaps realizing they're all bark at this point. It's an opening kill, certainly lovely from Shock. But right now, recovery has been had for AGO. And we bring up the point, as Furlan closes out too, that it really does come down to the economy game for Sinners. The reason they're on a low buy there is because MHL has that huge pop-off round. They were doing a lot of damage because the early rounds, Sinners were walking into a lot of stacks, you know, against these low buys. We're walking into these 3-man pushes, and there were kills coming in. You know, think if the clutches already had to come through so far. You look at Shock, had they made that massive clutch against some of the weak buys. There's a weak buy lost that. This hasn't been the cleanest Counter-Strike from Sinners at all, right? They've made a lot of decisions that have nearly cost them, and you can see the economy game is now opened up and allowed AGO back into this first half.
Made it a full Glock round here for Sinners in this one. You got any good full Glock strats? I don't think anyone does, really.
You
Just
know,
lose as quickly as possible.
yeah, just get it over and done with. Or just sit there and use it as attack points, as a lot of teams like to do.
Sometimes you see the old try and push 4 players on A and then sneak a plant on B, which might work in matchmaking, maybe.
Or just like, yeah, or Mirage or something, you could do that a lot more as well. You know, matchmaking's cool, you can do a lot of things with that. You know, right-click the Glock, make some noob confused, you know? But it's not at this level, certainly not. Glock should be torn to shreds. And 8-4, Sinners are, yes, in the lead, and had a fantastic start to the game, but AGO are right back in it now. And if they win this gun round, the polls are certainly here to play.
More of a standard setup now from AGO. They were stacking 4 on A in a lot of earlier rounds, but they still want to take aggression. It's MHL taking his initiative on towards Banana. Generally hasn't been playing on that B side of the map, but decided to this time. Look at the pop, though.
Yeah, they're just going to go through and right through it. NeoFrag with a bone-crushing headshot. Crash realizes, okay, this A aggression can't really work because the A site is starting to crumble from beneath my feet, so I've got to get back in and help my defensive player of Lemon, who has gotten to pit, but only managed one, and Zedko follows up onto Krasnal. Zedko and NeoFrag just having a field day right now, and Fiku has left himself in a 1 versus 3. He starts to try and figure out, is it even possible? He's found himself a chance, looking the wrong way as NeoFrag, and they're split up into 1v1 fights. He would love that peek to come out from the cubby, but the flank from Oscar around the backside of the site, he's read that. Fiku has read this clutch to perfection, but Zedko makes sure the book is slammed closed. No clutch will come through for AGO, but another close one for the Sinners. It started with the A play, and it finished with a 1 versus 1.
You could see Fiku try and calculate that in real time. He realized he had that free kill from behind on the first player, and then also figured out that the bomb was planted so far at the back of the site that there had to be a player coming from short or apartments to peek that. So he goes ahead and holds and just waits for them to come to him. He played it well to isolate all of those fights, but the final fight was one man too many. Sinners up 9-4. Oscar back onto the AWP. MHL has been taking a good bit of initiative with limited success so far in this game. That was all about the pace of the play from Sinners, though. They tried the fast B previously. That didn't work. The fast A goes well for them. They've already got some early kills exchanged on Banana.
Yeah, one of the players out of the round early is NeoFrag, and we've already discussed how impactful he's been so far. You don't really want to be losing NeoFrag this early in a round, so certainly a big player to find. I think Dralon was touching on the fact that Fiku is a player he was looking forward to seeing. Obviously, Kassad went with the MHL route, but Fiku was certainly an impressive player from map 1.
Definitely delivered for his team.
Look at this rotation. They just put another player back at CT at probably the worst time possible, because it looks like this play is about to come into the B site.
Yeah, they keep putting this smoke down back on Banana and just leaning a player over towards A, but it looks like Lemon will come back as the smoke fades to help his teammate, and he has a molly which could help slow this push.
Yeah, but the timing, Furlan can actually be isolated into a 1 versus 1 fight, and they have spotted him out. They spotted him now, but Lemon's got back into position. He can play from confidence as he peeks down. He lines them up. He mows them down, and it will be an absolute shutdown coming through for the AGO defense. They lose one player in an equal trade at the early round, and from that point onwards, it's just an easy shutdown on the B attack. There should have been much more posted there from Sinners.
The peaks were well timed from AGO. I've got to give them credit for the way they double peaked that position, and it is maybe somewhat fortunate for them that Sinners are so far up that Furlan can help out, but it still works out so nicely. And Lemon realized because his teammate's been spotted, he has to take initiative. He can't let his teammate sit in that spot. And AGO have got a real good chance for 6 rounds at the half here. Last round of the half, and Sinners only have a single rifle to work with, and even that is just the Galil in the hands of Shock.
CTs are doing a good job right now at taking Banana. Just that simple Molotov down in towards Banana, deep smoke to confirm it. It's forcing Sinners to look elsewhere and maybe sit around mid and waste some time, but they're actually realizing, well, we don't have Banana. We've actually got to make some space. We've got to force some fights. So Shock has walked his way up short. Now, they haven't even got the info here on the CT side that he's even close to the site. So he could just explode onto the defense in the middle of the site. This could be a nightmare. Flash is coming through. Lemon's blinded. Shock has found the kill, and they know Kras is stuck in behind Graveyard. He'll peek up for one, and that position's so strong. He's taking a lot of damage, but he's still there. He's still fighting, and Zedko's Deagle. He's running in with a knife, and Zedko brings down Krasnal. It's a 2 versus 2, now 2v1, as Furlan has to think about a retake. He knows there should be one player close towards Graveyard, at least towards Pit. And now he's got to think about how does he break it up? How does he isolate it into 1 versus 1 fights? He'll throw a deep smoke down to try and cover off the cave or the Pit position, but that isn't going to do too much because they can crossfire. They can play off of each other in this spot. And Oscar just with a deagle decides that's the easiest way of doing it. 10-5 half for the Sinners. They lead the way. And a strong start into the game, but AGO certainly showing signs of life, Polka.
They would try to have the passive setup in that round with a crossfire, but just that one flash fully blinding one of the players who was hoping he could just pop up and catch players that weren't even looking his way. That one flash makes such a difference in denying that crossfire entirely. Now Sinners have put themselves in a fantastic position here. But AGO, they are in the complete opposite corner, where there's a lot of pressure on this pistol round for them. This is the elimination match here in Group A of our play-ins. If you have just joined us, these are not the teams we were expecting. We had 2 upsets to put both of these teams into this position where one of the big names will be going home. Right now, Ago looking like the ones that could be going out of there. And look at this setup from Sinners. They've got 4B to start this pistol, but that is not the right call right now. Good luck, Oscar.
It's got CZ, so maybe he can line up a couple of headshots if they come in at the right angle, but it just gets overrun. That is a fast Glock out of Lemon. And now they start to think about getting on towards the site, because this rotation has come in quite quickly from Sinners, and that bomb is not down yet. Luckily, they had a smoke to smoke off Moto, and that should allow a safe passage to the site itself to put the bomb down. At least confirm, at a minimum, the second round force buy, but given their post plants, it should be their round win as well. Furlan from Boiler, able to get one, quickly traded out by Neofright, but that's still going to be the 3v4. That's still the advantage here for HEO into their post plants. Utilities start to come in. I think they've started to realize here, Sinners, we've got some equipment here. We've got some Kevlar, we've got a smoke. Might as well save this one. Getting back into the site is almost impossible, so they save it into the next round. And we see a pistol win for HEO coming into the second half.
Oscar's angle there he's holding is just such a hard one to hold, because you're looking dead on at players that are just going to be sprinting to the side. So if you take an angle that's more of like a 45-degree angle, say, it's going to be a bit easier to be able to quickly react to the players on your screen. They're not going to be moving as fast. But Oscar clearly just couldn't react quickly enough to get the kill he was hoping for. And then Ago do a solid job at just slowing it down. Once they get that site control, they realize there's no need to just quickly force the bomb plant and potentially get caught up in a kerfuffle where the bomb goes flying and the round becomes confusing. They just keep calm under the pressure of needing the pistol. They come through with it. Now there's the pressure of the force buy, because we've already had a couple of force buy round wins in this very series, Dinko.
Yeah, on this map as well. In particular, it's been pretty scrappy at times. Oscar looks to try and start it off for the mid-plate. Unfortunately for Oscar, no opening pick. Nice slow round here from HEO. You don't want to see them go in too aggressive, because we did see Sinners do that on their T side and walked right into what was a gamble stack and what was really a massacre, a bloodshed everywhere. So you don't want to be doing that in this kind of round. So just taking a more tempered, calculated approach will likely pick you up the information required to make the right decision. You see towards top banana, there's a low play from Fiku, just trying to see what's going on over there, trying to pull out any information he can through the other side of the smoke. And the A play, quiet, passive right now as well as we go under a minute.
Finally, some adjustment in the setup from Sinners. That adjustment is stacking another player over towards B, though, and you can see Ago starting to take the top mid control for free. The A players don't even know this is coming. Oscar will finally spot it, but they're so far up.
Yeah, and Oscar's not in the best position either. Gets caught in the open, nowhere to fall back from. And now more pressure onto his defensive players of Zedko. Inside the site, he's going to try and shut it down, but unfortunately he is assassinated by a blistering headshot out of Krasnal. So, safe call coming in again from Sinners. They have got some weapons to play with. And obviously, going into the next round, they wouldn't have anything to play with due to their money situation. So, 10-7. Likely, I'm going to say 10-8 right now, Hawk, as well. So, we're looking at HEO, who are certainly back in this game.
Certainly putting themselves in a position where they can put up a fight here.
Yeah.
Saying earlier, that's what I was expecting with how these teams have played recently.
And we talk about the third map is Vertigo. And we say, you know, even if we go to a third map, it's going to be really difficult, because we talk about Sinners, this fantastic team on Vertigo. They are obviously a good team on Vertigo. They have shown that a couple of months back, maybe they were fantastic on it. But recently, man, 3 months they've been playing. Over the last 3 months, they've played 14 times, and they've only won 7 of those. And it's not even just against some of the top tier opposition. You know, they take wins against Gamer Legion, Isuba, Heroic, Fnatic, obviously the big ones, and G2. But they have lost to South, Saves, they've lost to Gamer Legion, who they actually beat before as well. They've lost to Skade, Movistar Riders, 1 win, Furia, VP, Complexity. And that was a Complexity that were really struggling individually. So, you know, it's not a map that has been the same old comfort ground. So if you're Sinners right now, you don't really want to have to go to a third map. You want to try and close it as quickly as possible, and doing it on Inferno, you've got to pull up your socks and get back into this game as quickly as possible.
They do have a chance to stay competitive here in round 18. Only the one rifle in play, and that's already been taken out on an early trade. The other players also have capable weaponry here in this round. Banana control going the way of Ago, though. This gives them many more options. City aggression down mid, Shock getting in behind them. And that could make Ego really uncomfortable now.
Oh, that's even more uncomfortable. They've just lost everybody in the blink of an eye. What is this play from Ego? They've just lost everybody without really much of an idea. They just get caught all one by one. And to make it even worse, the bomb is in T-Star. So it wasn't even like they were committing to anything. They just got caught in their default one by one. Some timed aggression, the rest unraveled. They spotted a piece of thread and unraveled the entire piece of clothing. 50 seconds. There is an opening to this B site. Just one player currently on the B site defense. But I think it's a smart play here for Zedco just to post up behind Nubox, to delay the time, run it down. It's going to allow him to get onto the site here if he wants. And he could peek out for some information in towards CT, but Shock is aware of that possibility. He has his MP9 out. They now confirm the position of Fiku. Gonna try and win this one out with a Galil. Doing damage onto Shock, no kill. And you would have loved that. That would have given him a massive chance back into this. But with 20 seconds now left, he's got the rotation of Oscar and also the new box player of Zedco. In the end, it's a Sinners round. And finally, up to 11. And they've done it on a low buy, Hawker. That's disappointing for Ego. You can't afford to lose those when you're coming back into a game.
At least it doesn't have that massive swing of economy where Ego are broke. They do have money themselves, but it's still not exactly great for them considering the circumstances. 11-7 down, and if Sinners were to win this one, that's when they could start to run away with the series, and Ego would be put into a dire position. Pressure on for them here. Nades exchanged on Banana, the molly into top Banana. Put there by both sides. B-Stick wanting to keep them at bay a little longer. The nade will be coming through, but Victor's in an aggressive angle. I thought B-Stick might be caught out by that, but he's ready for it. And oh, wow, B-Stick with 2.
Yeah, massive openings there from B-Stick. Krasnell and MHL, just the last 2 players alive. MHL nearly gets a couple more pieces of damage done through the smoke there. Sinner's taking a bit of damage on the Banana re-aggression. But they've locked down map control. They've got all of the man advantages right now. This is looking so good for the Sinners defense. Krasnell's going to force his way through, brutally chopping through Neofrag alone at the logs. So they have reclaimed and forced them back out of Banana. That's not enough right now. A minute left. They've lost A. You see how aggressive the CTs are playing towards apartments, so they know that run back will be spotted. They've got to go all the way through into T-spawn, and in fact, they're going to go for the save call because this round just ain't happening. 44 seconds left, and they've decided to go for the save call already because, yes, coming into this round, certainly, Hawker, you don't see those economic repercussions, but losing this round, you certainly do. There's no money left here for the T side, and that really does spell disaster. This is a swing round, and the Sinners have won it.
Krasnell's just having a chat with the chicken right now. So do you come here often?
You speak much chicken, Hawker?
No, not personally.
I eat a lot, but I don't speak chicken.
I know a cluck cluck here and there.
Oh.
I believe chickens communicate in Morse code by just pecking the ground a certain amount of times. I've heard that is a very accurate assessment.
I mean,
so apparently this chicken doesn't want to talk to me.
Yeah. No, this is one of those robot chickens. You know, the tinfoil hat people. They have the conspiracy, like the robots, like the chickens aren't real. And they're just like robots put out by the government.
Why would you make it a chicken, though? Like a chicken can't even fly. Well, make it like a pigeon or something.
Yeah, but a lot of people think it's pigeons too, right? They think it's birds.
So all the animals are just all spying on
They're all just robots.
Yeah.
So make sure you put your tinfoil hat on and everything's good.
I'll look into it.
It's the protection device. 12-7. Remember, always use protection. So that's just good advice.
Just good advice in general. Yeah. You can use it in any context you wish. And hopefully Sinners have got them some protection against the pistols in this round. There are some AKs in play though, and Krasnell is so quick.
Yeah, B-Stick didn't use protection. He got absolutely wrecked. Krasnell with the follow-up, but Dunk comes back. It always comes back to bite him. And it's going to be a man advantage in play here for AGO. Again, this should have been a round that AGO struggled with, that had a lot of issues with, but they've got an advantage. Don't sweat too much yet if you're a Sinners fan, though. They certainly have the better weapons. 2 AKs in play, M4A1S. But there is still 2 AKs for the AGO side. So this round, they really need to win this fight. And Oscar will pick it up. All reliable, taking themselves an opening kill in the Banana fight. He's going to go back for more. The Itchy about to soar through the bottom of that smoke and try and connect a bit more damage on the way out. But what a rock Oscar has to be there. You know, if he loses that fight, that's probably the round done. That's a save call right there. But Oscar wins a crucial fight at top Banana that gets them into this 3 versus 3.
No flashes here for Ago to get back into Banana, so they may have to use the smoke into top Banana. If they do that, it's going to be a giveaway. So they decide to smoke CT spawn, and that could be a good call.
Look how much utility Oscar has. He had Incendiary, he's going to throw it down and try and delay. He's also got a smoke, but they're going to charge it. They're going to come right through, and Oscar still gets a double kill. Massive hold from the veteran, and Shock through the smoke takes out MHL in a swing round, in the most important round you've seen yet. Oscar is the player to deliver the goods, and that is why we talk about him. That is why he's defensive check Counter-Strike, because he can deliver rounds like that in crucial moments.
And he had that split-second decision to make there. Because of the way that CT smoke was thrown, there was no early information given to him. There was no early warning that a B play was about to come in. So he had to figure out instantly, am I going to fight ahead of this smoke, or am I comfortable playing retake? And he decided fighting ahead of the smoke would be effective. He was correct in his assessment. Really important multi-kill round from Oscar, who gets an AWP into his hands as a reward for it. There you go, don't have that same luxury though. Only pistols and a couple of flashes to play with.
And these rounds, you know, they have posed a big threat, so it's not like you can usually sit back and feel comfortable. Sinners have not been great at dealing with these kind of buys, so none of these rounds are easy at all. You have to focus up in every single one of them, because one lapse in judgment or focus, you are going to get punished. Beastic has the archway timing, spotted the bomb, couldn't get a kill. He knows at least they did try and pressure long. They got caught by a flash, and now they're funneled into Oscar. He is ready, he is waiting, and he has claimed his first victim of the round. Fiku out, they're gonna try and get him off the angle. Good flash, but Oscar still finds another.
The other players on the site don't get blind for long. The Rankles can now come in to help. MHL tries his best, but Oscar pulls out the pistol, fights him fair. CZ versus Tech9, but he still wins it.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this team is, you know, Oscar in particular, obviously having a big step up here, but this is the longest Oscar has actually been on a team since Mouse Sports. This is a massive setup for him, you know. This is a situation where he's been team hopping for such a long time after the longest stint in Mouse Sports and CSGO, and he even had times in Sprout, obviously Hellriz, he's been at the start of his CSGO career, and then Mouse Sports is the only organization he's actually won relevant trophies with, and one of them being the V4 trophy in 2018 where he won the MVP, but he hasn't won any trophies of any other organization so far in CSGO. So this is where you want to see if he can carry a Czech team. That's the biggest story. Imagine Oscar taking a Czech team all the way to a trophy. Yes, here in the V4 Invitational, that's where it started with Mouse Sports. It's one of the trophies they were able to pick up. So maybe he can do it again with a team like this. It's going to be very difficult, and they're here in the elimination game. But this is starting to look exciting for Oscar. You know, if he can start to heat up, start to have a couple of these moments, I'm excited to see what he can show.
And Sinners are one of the teams who I could see warming up as the tournament goes on. Definitely here at the LAN. I'm sure with everyone in person, there's just going to be a completely different atmosphere for the team. And now that they are starting to perform to their expectations, I'm sure we'll get to see that come through. This banana control has been so much better for Sinners here. This was an issue for them in their game earlier against Onyx, but here on this CT side of Inferno against AGO, clearly they figured that out. And just look at how much control down banana they have. Beastic is all the way down in the cubby, and Oscar's holding at the top with the AWP. In fact, Oscar's anti-flash right now. He's looking into the wall so that as soon as he hears the flash, he can look back and try and get a quick shot.
And he peeks
Never mind.
drive right into MHL. But here comes Beastic holding on. He's the second pillar of defense. He's got two, but now that opens up the B site completely. It's a charge. It's a race to try and get back here in time. And Neofry gonna have to run around Speedway all the way through Ruins and try and get back up to Coffins. And just as he arrives to his position, there's a smoke up to cover off his information flow. He now has to rely on rotations from his teammates if they want to play this 3v3 post plant. Lemon committing to the bomb plant. Oh, and it's denied. It's not going to be going down, and nearly through the smoke, a second opportunity arose. No kill, though, and that bomb still down in the open, still loose. There's 30 seconds now ticking the clock. Bomb plant being committed to, but this time, Sinners have the advantage into the retake. They've got the player advantage as they come back through. MHL tucks in behind Nubox. Furlan will be the first player tested, and the flashes are so good into the retake here for Sinners. They're looking at map and series point. Zedko with the follow-up kills for him, and that is it. 15 rounds for Sinners, and AGO now face elimination in the V4 Future Festival.
It's looking likely at this point with the way Sinners are playing. Solid utility on the retake. AGO there had some nades of their own that they used initially. I wonder if they maybe could have used that molly towards Ruin sooner, because Furlan had that the whole time, but his teammate gets spammed through. That is a spam that a lot of players are going to be good at getting now, just to deny that bomb plant, buy that bit of extra time. And then, even though MHL was in a pretty good position, once his teammate goes down, he's not going to be able to get 3 kills from that scenario. Neofrag having another really good map here, and he may be about to keep themselves in this tournament with this win.
A lot of pressure on this buy now for Asia. It has to be perfect from here on in to stay alive in this competition. Elimination looms. They have taken some early damage on Krasnil, his first ever LAN event. It could be done after just one best of one. 3 maps played in total. Krasnil gets blinded as he's forced back into Banana. The re-aggression for the CTs has worked out perfectly. Set kill hold the apartments. Early kills all here for the Sinners. And that surely is it now. MHL and Fiku have got to pull off almost the unthinkable. A 2 versus 5. And these are the moments. If MHL can start to get involved, if he can ignite in this round with an AK, this is why he is one to watch. This would prove the reasons why. But he's now alone. And this one is just too much to ask, even for him.
I mean, he's literally the one to watch in this round for Ago.
The only one left in the world. And this one is truly complete. A flawless round to close it. 16-7. The Sinners will stay alive. There's no first day elimination for them. The second highest seeded team coming into the play-in stage of the competition, and they will stay alive to carry the flag of Czech Counter-Strike at least for a day longer. Hawker, we'll see if Oscar and the boys can get it going for the rest of the event. They survive the scare of the best of ones, and their best of 3 is much better.
And in that second half of Inferno especially, they started to show that level of play that we would expect from them. Even in that last round, look at the protocols as they retake Banana. They have the flash in, they have the mollies behind it. Everything looking much more coordinated for Sinners, which is the most important thing. Because I wouldn't say they're a team that have massive star names. Oscar and Neofrag, obviously good players, great players, but they maybe don't have the massive firepower of some of the other teams. That coordination was a big reason why they were so good, and we definitely saw that.
Yeah, and then we focus in on the AGO side of things. You know, we talk about the fact that this team have a lot of expectation on their shoulders coming into this event. They are the 3rd highest seeded team in the play-in. Certainly one of the teams you expect to win their opening game and head their way through to the main event. They are now out on day 1. This is disappointing, but it's brutal. The way this format works, you lose 1 best of 1, you're straight down into the elimination game. The fact that we've had 3 of the top-rated teams in this stage of the tournament go into the elimination games after their opening best of 1 proves how dangerous and volatile the whole situation can be.
Absolutely. And I mean, from Ago's side, they're probably thinking back to that Nuke game in the best of 1, how close it was, how well these Super guys played. But all in all, got to say, a good performance from Sinners, and I'm excited to see what they can do.
Well, I'm excited to hear the words of Banks, Kassad, and Drowlon, and that's going to be coming up right about now.
Thank you very much, Dinko and Hawker. As Sinners do manage to grab this 2-0, we were very correct on our analysis this time around. You know, Ago needed to win Ancient. It didn't happen. We go on to Inferno. And realistically, there was not a moment where I felt like there was a chance for Ago to actually have some control and take the game. It was all in Sinners' hands.
It's a serious game, so serious analysis. All this today was a joke, so doesn't count. It's a serious game. But yeah, like we said, in the second map, the one thing that AGO needed was a good start, and that's one thing they didn't have, you know. On the positive side, they did get like a close round, so as soon as they got the second round, they put their money very low, but it was too late by that time.
Yeah, this was basically Sinners smelling blood finally, and then there's a complete mental collapse from Ago, especially from Neofrags. Like, this was him being unleashed finally on that T side. This is what we wanted to see almost like the whole day long, him absolutely fragging, and he was a complete nuisance on that T side to Ago's defense.
There was definitely some moments though, right, where you can look at it and say that, okay, Ago had some rounds where they made it close, they could get some chances in with it, but when it came down to the crunch time, it was Sinners were just better. I come back to one of these rounds where they're like pushing up Banana, they've done really well, right, got in, then they meet Oscar and he just sprays down 3 of them, you know, and it's like, they thought they had a chance of it, but, you know, they hit a brick wall.
They got that one lifeline by winning the second pistol.
Yep.
And they just blew it in the third round, which is lost to an eco round. So after that, we see the complete switch up from Sinners, by taking Banana control all throughout the half, and it just rolled over them. It was like easy after that.
Yeah, I think we get to see that round in a replay as well soon, sometime. Yeah, let's just take a look at the replay. So this was basically the finishing blow for Ago, in like mentally, right? Player shock pushes down mid, gets the frag, and then the KO spreads cross. Now tries to get a pick here from Boiler, taken down by Oscar, and from here on out they just pure chaos, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the round that was the final nail at the coffin of AGO, and it's like they played it really poorly, and like I said, it was their lifeline to get back into the game.
Their avenue.
They just blew it, and after that, it was just a walk in the park for Sinners. Well, easy.
Easy stuff at the end of it all, right? Played with a bit of smart to it all. Now, though, is this Sinners that we can be proud of going on further throughout the tournament? Right? They made up for the mistakes of earlier?
The Sinners are gonna be going through tomorrow, no matter who they face. You see the early pressure from the first game is just disappeared. They destroyed AGO here. They're gonna be feeling confident tonight. They're gonna be sleeping well. You know, even though they lost the first game, they're gonna be coming in tomorrow. They're gonna be wanting Onyx, to be honest. Like if the mentality is right, you know, they want Onyx to do the revenge kind of thing. But I'm kind of hoping they will not get them. Yeah,
No bias.
I can honestly say that whoever Sinners face tomorrow, they're gonna beat them just as easily as AGO.
I think one of the highlights to take away from this match, if you're Sinners, is that sure Oscar played well, but it was like not his A game, right? So we've still seen him like an Ancient miss certain shots. You know, he got like 25 frags in the end, but you know he was still not that super in the zone on focus. And if Oscar gets to that point, you know, during those best of 3 games, then that's when he gets really scary. So they don't need him to like actually like grind through some of these games, but if he is there, you know, that's when they actually like move through the whole tournament.
Oscar is the most experienced player on this event, definitely. Right?
By a long shot. By a long shot.
No one even close to him.
At least the closest would be Lord in terms of being a coach, not even a player.
Or Hooch for that.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I mean, it's speaking of Ancient and Oscar, probably like the map is new to him as well.
True.
You know, the angles, the timings, the rotations, everything is like relatively new. But the map came out in June or something.
Yep.
So God knows when they started to play it. So like I think he will be fine just after a few months. He should be fine.
And for AGO though, right, looking at this, obviously
should
you
not be
lose
fine.
the
they're
best
not
of
happy.
one. They're getting on the bus, as we've been saying about it, right? We've painted the new bus, it's got AGO across the side of it, but this is quite a disappointing result, not just in this best of 3, right? The fact they didn't even get a map out of it, but it's like you picked into Ancient, you should have some confidence on it, you couldn't even get that one done, and you lost a really close best of 1.
They're 0-3 today.
Yeah.
You know, and they deserve to go home. That's it. Like they showed poor CS today. They had like a close game against the super underdog. This game they had no chance whatsoever. So they need to go home and rethink some things, I guess, for the next season or whatever comes in the next month.
Exactly. Back to the drawing board.
Well, one good thing for them though is they still walk away with just over $4,000 at least for coming, you know, at least for entering. There's a bit of money on the line there. We'll take
The bus ticket.
Just wipe your
Bus
eyes
fare.
with some money.
I hope the bus ticket's not $4,000. That'd be pretty wild, you know.
It's a premium economy kind of thing.
There you go.
Then we're going to put them on the nice one. All right, that's how it will go. We'll go on to our next best of 3. Then there's one more elimination match to come your way today. But before that, we need to head to a quick break, so we'll see you in just a few.